Welcome back to The Reset. I am Sean Tucker, human performance scientist and authority architect. We are here in the living lab documenting the science, the struggle, and the shift for every high performance dad and founder who is ready to bridge the gap between their ambition and their presence. What are your standards costing you the day they quietly drop? It's a good one, isn't it? And look, if you receive value from this episode, please go into the show notes and give this show a rating on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, because it helps get the message in front of the man who's ready to listen to it. Thank you for that. So what are your standards costing you the day they silently drop? This one is quite deep, especially for the listener and the viewer right now, especially if you relate to this, what I'm about to share with you. This is not something that comes out of the blue as a surprise. This is what happens when you start quietly letting people walk over you. You let your standards slide. You let basically things slide without you holding true to what you really value. Because your standards effectively are your values that hold your identity together. The standards that you set yourself, if you value health and you're doing everything in your power that goes against that value of health, what's clear, your standards have dropped. Whereas if your standards have been raised and it's proving that, you do value health, then there's no question about it. But the day your standards quietly drop because you're forced, for whatever reason, to, let the opinions of other people decide for you what it means. Look, this is such a shame. It's such a shame. Because if you're anyone like myself, sometimes you care a little bit too much about what people think and what their opinions are. Even if they have no credibility, they have no sense of good judgment or discernment, yet something about them, just hear me out, something about what they say or how they say it has enough conviction in it for you to believe it. And it could be something as simple as, look, you are offering something that you have no credibility in yourself. Except from your experience, credibility doesn't actually get you much. It doesn't really get you far. And it's actually results and people talking about their experience with you that gets you way further. So yeah, you can go and get all the degrees, all of the courses, and honestly, still feel completely unworthy. Yet you can not get any of the certifications, any of the courses, and still be an expert. In fact, there are many experts without qualifications. And I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole, but the point of me saying that is when your standards drop because someone has said something and you've taken their opinion as gospel, like it must be true, stop. Because that is very insidious. That is what would be called or known as dogma. It's when opinion and fact meet each other, except they can't. So that level of dogma just means that person thinks that their belief system is more important than yours. They think it's more important than the actual evidence. And it's not. So when your standards quietly drop, and this without looking at the external environment, looking at yourself, looking at how many times you've promised yourself to go to the gym or start something different, start something new. Like, I'll eat a little bit healthier this week, or tomorrow I will start. Then it doesn't happen. Or maybe you were religiously following a plan and you were sticking to it and you were getting great results and you did that for years on end. And the habits formed, and for whatever reason, kid comes along and suddenly your world is turned upside down. Not in a way that obviously it's life-changing becoming a parent, but in ways you didn't recognize. In ways that you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, what happened to you, man? You used to be fit, you used to be strong, you used to be confident. And yeah, sure, when you're with your kids, you are. Deep down, you look at yourself in the mirror, you're a little bit embarrassed. Because somewhere along the lines, you let the standards drop. Let that sink in. You let the standards drop, not because you didn't care, but only because your values probably changed. And your priorities, for which you value most important, they likely changed. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to rebuild them, it's not about getting more serious. It's about meeting the truth without judgment. It's about meeting the truth in a way where you can move forward. So not judging means not shaming yourself, not comparing yourself, just being with what is present right now. That's it. And this is what the 7-day nervous system reset is all about. It helps you meet you where you are and starts quieting down the mind so that it can bypass some of those judgment filters. It can discern what's actually true. Because often what you see and what you think is only part of the way there. It's not the full truth. Usually it's an illusion of what you think is happening or what is really happening. So if you have let your standards drop, take the 7-day reset. The 7-day nervous system reset will help you rebuild the character from within, from the ground up. And look, if you found this episode helpful, once again, please go to Apple and Spotify. The links are in the show notes. You can rate this show because this will land in front of the man who's ready to receive it. And if there's someone who comes to mind who you can recommend to the show, seriously, send it to them. That's all. Brings us to the end of this episode. So if you've liked this episode, please go ahead and enroll in the 7-day nervous system reset. Because most people wait for their life to change. We are the ones who architect our choices. Change your state, choose how you show up. I am Sean Tucker. I will see you in the next one.